Hi, this is another passing thought. I want you to understand a little something about tone of voice. Nurses, doctors, whoever I'm speaking to right now. A word, a phrase, a terminology said in a tone of voice that could be perceived as abrupt, insincere, diddery, can make a massive impact on a patient. And I'm not just talking doctor's rounds, I'm talking generally speaking. When you're speaking to your patients, talking to them, beware of every single word you say. And sometimes you have to be aware of what a relative is saying to a patient. I'm not asking you to eavesdrop on other patients at visiting hours, but sometimes you can observe visiting hours. They're very interesting times to observe. I was very spoiled at Romsey Hospital when I worked there because you could get away with people watching without them knowing you were watching them. And sometimes I heard some really harsh words said to a patient by a relative, and you desperately want to step in and say something, but you can't. You see, words were said in our house last night, and I went over and spent the night at my parents' place. Why did I do that? Because words were said that hurt me, and I couldn't get out of this place. My wings have been clipped because of the brain tumour. I'm no longer able to drive, so I couldn't just take myself off. I had to wait for Andrew to go and get his shoes on and get ready to take me over. When I say to you, watch your patient, look at your patient, I'm also asking you to watch yourself at the same time. Listen to yourself. And ask yourself the question, is what I'm saying sounding at all abrupt, patronising, insincere, or dithery? Just stop for a second, split second, and ask yourself that question. You may have all the knowledge of that patient in the world, everything from what medication they're taking to the inside leg measurement. You might know that patient literally inside out. However, at that moment, the son has just left the patient's bedside, and the patient's in tears. He said something to upset her. That has upset her. Now you have to go and speak to that patient. And you have to bring a calmness, a settling. So you're not going to be abrupt or dismissive. Listen to your own tone of voice just as much as the patient's. You know the odd words, darling, sweetheart, lovey. And yes, we are all guilty of using those expressions. Don't tell me you've never used those expressions with a patient, because I'll tell you have. Even if it's, all right, darling, all right, sweetheart. As you approach the patient and you observe everything, like I said before, their breathing, their complexion, you have to look at yourself as well. Listen to your own voice and ask yourself the questions. I'm about to tell this patient, or ask a patient a question, or how am I going to say this? There shouldn't be too many people too far away to ask advice, But when it comes down to you talking to the patient, listen to your own tone of voice as much as theirs. Because one word said out of a sentence out of 10 can mean the difference between that patient having a really good day and being able to work with the physios and the OTs and talking to everybody and just getting on with life. Or if you say a word or phrase out of 10 that either you shouldn't have said at all, or your tone of voice was a bit too abrupt and a bit too patronising, that patient is now sat in bed looking really depressed, with probably self-esteem in their boots. So guys, there's 2 lessons for you. First one is about body image. How much being on steroids and bloating up can impact on a patient's self-esteem and body image, and how you have to learn to be honest with your patient. And also making sure that when you approach a patient and you're about to say some news or you're about to just chat to them generally, watch your tone. Watch your tone of voice. Not darling, sweetheart, lovey all the time. Not trying to do all sorts of things, but just listen to your own tone of voice and make sure that how you approach this patient is respectful, courteous, and above all, with compassion. Okay. Till next time.